Right friends, welcome back to Learning Space. We are starting modules in economy. Economy I bifurcated into two parts. One is lectures, other one is questions and answers with discussion. Lectures will have 30 modules. Questions and answers with discussion will have another 30 modules. So total it will be 60 modules that will take care of all the examinations up to UPSC level. At the same time, you will have clear knowledge of all the things as far as economy is concerned if you listen to all these 60 modules. First, we are starting this questions and answers with the discussion, and look at the first module and first question. Coupon rate or yield, these are the terms associated with bonds or debentures. There is a slight difference between bonds and debentures. Bonds are normally issued by public sector undertakings as well as big corporations, and debentures are issued by companies. And technically speaking, the difference is bond will have collateral security and debenture do not have collateral security. That is the technical difference. But in India, these two terms are being used interchangeably, and if any company wants to expand, then they have three options. The first option is they can issue shares. That means whoever are subscribing to shares will become part owner of the company. So shares are called equity instruments. The second option is companies or corporations or public sector undertakings may go for bonds or debentures, and when bonds or debentures are issued, they will carry interest rate. The interest rate is known as the coupon rate. So please listen to carefully. When the company wants to expand, the first option is they can issue shares. Whoever are subscribing to shares, they are called equity holders, and shares are called equity instruments. And when companies are issuing bonds or debentures, they will pay regular interest, and the interest rate is known as the coupon rate. This is second important point. And companies have got another option to take a loan from banks or financial institutions. So please be clear. Shares means equity instruments. Bonds or debentures, these are debt instruments. That means the relation is lender-borrower relation. In case of bonds or debentures, the relation between the subscriber and the company is lender-borrower relation. And in case of shares, the subscriber will become part owner of the company, and there is a slight difference between bonds and debentures, but these are used interchangeably. And for simplicity's sake, in all these lectures, I am referring to the bonds as issued by public sector undertakings and debentures as issued by private sector companies. So, in my lectures, for the simplicity's sake, when I tell bond, I am referring it as issued by public sector undertakings, and when I am referring to debentures, I am taking them as issued by private sector undertakings. There is no hard and fast rule, but only for simplicity's sake I have taken like this. So bonds and debentures are debt instruments which carry fixed interest rate, and interest rate is known as the coupon rate. And you may have a pertinent question: who regulates the shares, bonds and debentures? Shares, bonds, debentures, these comes under capital market instruments. So these three are known as the capital market instruments, and the regulator is Securities and Exchange Board of India. So coupon rate is the rate at which interest is paid on the bond, and yield is also very important term. If you look at bonds or debentures, please look into this slide. I have purchased a bond for rupees 100 and I can sell it through stock exchanges. And if I sell the bond at rupees 110, then the person whoever purchased it will get less yield. That means in comparison to the coupon rate, his yield will be less. because on 100 rupees bond, I am getting rupees 10 as interest. And when he is purchasing in the secondary market at rupees 110, his interest will be 10 only. That means his yield will be somewhere around 9%. That means 10 rupees out of 110. That means he is investing 110 and he is getting interest of rupees 10. That's why his yield is just around 9%. And in the secondary market, if someone purchases the bond for rupees 90, then his yield will be around 11% because he will continue to get rupees 10 interest on the purchase price of rupees 90. So, this is the difference between coupon rate and yield. Coupon rate is the original interest rate announced by the company, and subsequently when a person purchases these bonds or debentures, the interest which he gets on the purchased amount of the bond is known as yield. So, when the bond rate is more, that means when the bond prices increase, then yield will reduce. And when the bond prices reduce, then yield will increase. And I hope you are clear about these two terms. One is coupon rate and the other one is yield. And when we take up the topic in lectures, then I will discuss further on these topics. Right? Let us leave this discussion here. And if someone talks about yield and coupon rate, these are the terms associated with bonds or debentures. And if someone talks about dividend, that is the term associated with the shares. Look at the next one. Which of the following cannot be traded? And as I have already told you, bonds and debentures are debt instruments. That means companies are borrowing money from public. Shares means people are subscribing to shares so as to take ownership in the company. So these three can be traded. Shares, bonds, debentures, these three can be traded, and fixed deposits in banks, they cannot be traded. So this is the difference, please understand. Look at the next one. If the bond is purchased at a discount, then yield is higher than the coupon rate. You have to go back to the same example here. 100 rupees bond, if it is sold at rupees 110 in the secondary market, that means if the bond is sold at premium in the secondary market, then yield is less than the coupon rate. That means he will get rupees 10 out of rupees 110. That means yield is less. And if the bond is being purchased at a discount at rupees 90, then yield will be rupees 10 out of rupees 90. That means here the percentage of yield is higher than the coupon rate. Right? So this is all about yield and coupon rate. If the bond is purchased at a discount, then yield is higher than the coupon rate. Look at the next one. Which of the following is not a fixed income security? Fixed income security, the meaning is it will have fixed interest rate. So what are the securities which have fixed interest rate? One is government securities. Government securities are issued by Government of India through Reserve Bank of India, and they will have fixed rate of interest. Then bonds. Bonds will carry fixed rate of interest. Either bonds or debentures will have fixed rate of interest. Then commercial paper. Commercial paper is issued by top rated companies. Then they will have fixed rate of interest. And please don't forget, the maximum time period for commercial paper is not more than 1 year. So these three are the securities which have fixed rate of interest. And shares, there is no question of any interest in shares. If the company is in profits, they will declare dividend, and if the company is performing well, then share price will increase. If the company is performing badly, then share price will decrease. So, if someone talks about fixed income security, the fixed income securities are government securities, bonds, debentures, commercial papers. These are all examples of fixed income securities, but shares are not fixed income securities. Look at the next one. Which of the following will not have a maturity? So here the answer is shares. Maturity, when you are talking about maturity, government securities will have specific time period, 20 years, 30 years like that. Bonds are also issued with the fixed tenure of 10 years, something like that. Then commercial paper, it is less than 1 year, but tenure is fixed. So, the security which will not have maturity is the shares. So, if someone talks about the securities with the maturities, then government securities, bonds, debentures, commercial paper, these are all examples. Look at the next one. In mutual funds, who will protect the unit holders' interests? And you may have a pertinent doubt what is meant by mutual funds. Please look into this slide. Mutual funds means investors like you and me will give money, and subsequently the company is asset management company, will invest in various shares by applying their brain. So, by applying their brain, they will invest in various companies, and that is the company which is maintaining mutual funds. So, mutual funds means the investors like you and me will give money, and subsequently the company will invest in shares, bonds and debentures of various companies by applying their brain. So, here in mutual funds, who will protect the unit holders' interests? Here, the unit holders' interests are looked after by the trustees. The fund sponsor or the promoter, whoever wants to promote mutual funds, first appoint trustees, and trustees will look after the interests of the customers. Right? Look into the next one. That is, which of the following is not related to mutual funds? Mutual funds has got specific nomenclature. One is SIPs. SIPs means at regular intervals, maybe monthly, you will subscribe to mutual funds. So, you will pay regularly 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, something like that. So, that is systematic investment plans. So, in mutual funds, you can invest regularly at a specified value of maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, something like that. Second one is units. Units are allotted by the mutual funds, and unit will have a value that is a net asset value. In shares, you will have share value. Just like that, in mutual funds, you will be allotted units, and units will have some value. The value of the units is known as net asset value or NAV. So, SIPs, units, NAV, these are the terms associated with mutual funds, but hedging is not the term associated with the mutual funds. Look at the next one. Which of the following is a mechanism of diversification for a common man which will minimize risk? Which of the following is a mechanism of diversification? Diversification will reduce risk. So, here investments in mutual funds is example for diversification. Investment in shares, it will involve a lot of risk. And investment in junk bonds. Junk bonds means the bonds issued by low rated companies or unrated companies. If unrated companies are issuing junk bonds, then interest rate will be very high, but at the same time risk will be very high. So, investments in junk bonds will invite more risk than investments in mutual funds. Investments in mutual funds or for diversification, and risk will be reduced because somebody else is applying their brain before investing in various companies. And the fourth one is investment in hedge funds. Hedge funds are basically the investments made by rich people with expectation of very high returns. So this also sometimes may involve risk. In fact, hedge funds are for rich people, not for middle class people or not for common man. So here the answer is, for minimizing the risk, diversification takes place when one invests in investments in mutual funds. Right friends, with this let us conclude first module, and please do join for second module. Have a nice day. Thank you.